Let's get inside the compositional mind of one of the great composers in jazz or really any music, Wayne Shorter. I'm Ron Drotos, and welcome to my journey through the real book, number 108. And this is El Gaucho by Wayne Shorter. And check this out. Okay, now listen to this. Hear the similarity? Here's the first one. And here's the second. What's going on here? Okay, so in 1964 or 65, somewhere in there, Wayne recorded a great album that's it's known but not as well known as it should be, called Etc. And he wrote a tune called Penelope, which is a beautiful ballad based on the Greek myths. Penelope was the patient wife of Odysseus in the Odyssey, who waited for decades for him to come home. And it goes like this. Great change there. And so then, that's a great tune. And that story would end there if, a couple of years later, he had not written this tune, El Gaucho, which basically is the same idea for the first phrase, right? But the chords are different. They're sunnier. They're not as brooding. They're not as introspective. And he does it up as an up-tempo, kind of medium up Latin tune. So what's going on there? Well, some composers like to borrow from themselves, or they have the same idea that can be, manifested in two different ways. This sort of motif, boo, 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 or boo, 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 boo. It just had two implications, and he used one with different chords for Penelope and slow. And then he used this one with these sunnier chords, major sevenths, and made it Latin, recorded it later. Johann Sebastian Bach did the same kind of thing. He would take things that he had written 10, 20 years earlier and use them in other pieces, like his B minor Mass. And sometimes he changed them around, sometimes he didn't. But this is fascinating. It's almost like a theme and variations on that one idea. He used, like I just did. They're totally different contexts, but it's the same basic musical material. It's like taking a piece of clay, and you can shape it into a little bowl, and then you can take the same piece of clay and make it a plate or something, or a different shape. It's using the same material in different ways. So these are great albums. Etc. is one that you should definitely check out, though. It's not El Gaucho, it's Penelope. It's not widely known, and it's actually probably my favorite of his albums as a leader. But both of these, Adam's Apple and Etc., are quartets with Herbie Hancock on piano. There's no other horn player. So I'm just going to play it. The only thing is that there's these long melody notes. And on the record, he clearly has something. It sounds like a written out bass line in those spots. I think it's doubled with the piano, if I heard that right. Like the bass on the left hand of the piano, which would mean it would be written out. I'm not going to, I maybe improvise my own there. I like to use that and just see what happens. Sometimes I'll do something with the bass. Sometimes I'll play a melodic thing. Sometimes I'll do something texturally, Just see what comes out. It's a great tune. It's a lot of fun to play. And here we go. You know, one thing about those 11th chords that are in the melody, you know, with the 11th up here, they really do imply these sort of, you know, superimposing these, I guess you could say like a minor 7th chord based on the 5th. So on an E minor 7th, you could play a B minor 7th on top of that. And that B minor 7th, with one extra note, the E, is a pentatonic. So on an E minor 7th chord, follow me here, you can play a B minor pentatonic scale. So what would it be on C minor, for instance? It would be a G minor pentatonic. And that has the 11th in there. That's why it's a nice superimposition there. And the melody lends itself to that. There's a lot of pentatonic type stuff going on. You know? So it's interesting to take clues from the melody itself and use it in your improvisation. So go back, listen to Etc. Like I said at the beginning, that tune Penelope, which is really sort of the fraternal twin of El Gaucho. They're twins, but they don't quite look alike, you know. And compare them. Hear how they're similar and different in sound. Good luck with your playing. Thanks for being here on, I guess, our journey through the real book. And we'll keep going till we get through the whole thing. See you next time.